I just can't wait any longer. I've been wanting to sit down and talk about some stuff, but um, just got too much time dedicated to other things, and I'm still dealing with bad allergies. Um, and because I'm driving, I don't even know if I can be heard over the sound of being on the road or the fact that my phone is connected to the car. I don't know, so this would be a test to see. Um, and maybe if people get on, they can say something and let me know whether or not I got sound or not. But I'll just go ahead and press along. I mean, I kind of want to wait because I would hate to just be talking and it all be for nothing. But why not? I mean, I've done it before. Simply because I had like a microphone that went out 30 minutes into the conversation or whatever. Anyway, um, so a couple things I want to get off my chest in regard to the whole gaming thing. Again, I've said it a million times. I created this channel, got on YouTube, specifically created this channel to address conversations in the gaming space. Now, with Xbox finally putting Halo on PlayStation, like this one, I wish I could say his name, but the one content creator who said this is literally like, Xbox has already been dying, already been dead and buried, and this is just dirt on the casket at this point, which I completely agree. Definitely dirt on the casket, and I'm laughing about it. Now, here's the thing. I have a problem with people who want to act like, and I saw people actually say this like somebody said this in a comment section. I'm like, y'all really have mental problems. Like, y'all really have some straight up mental issues. Like, and some of y'all really think y'all smart and y'all not at all. Now, let's just keep it real. Let's put the facts on the table. Most people in this world are not intelligent. Okay? Let's just keep it real. I'm not claiming to be the most intelligent person in the world, but I'm not stupid. And unfortunately, I don't care how you slice it, the majority of the people on this planet are not very intelligent. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about book smart, this, that, and third. I'm just saying, like, just being able to hear or read, understand, and make sense going forward. Some people can read the same thing you read and be lost. They can read Jack and Jill went up the hill and they'll be like, I don't know where they went. Something about Jack and some other girl. Like, for real. And I'm not joking. I know that sounds bad, but I'm not joking. If you've been in any kind of school system where you had average people, you saw some level of that lack of understanding, of that lack of comprehension. And as you get older in life, it really just compounds on that. There are people that you can tell them something, and no matter how you say it, they will not get it because they are lacking some basic things that their brain just doesn't have. Not trying to, put shame on nobody, but just let the table be set that we understand that the majority of people in this world are not very smart. Now, that off the table, let me help some of you, if you dare to be helped. Number one, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. This whole notion that people who are fans of PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo or whatever, that you're immature, something's wrong with you, this, that, and the third, miss me with it, because it's no different than people who cheer for sports. So if people who cheer for sports and sports teams, if they're immature, if they're not logical, and we're talking about $2 billion industries, the gaming industry, $1 billion industry, the sports industry, $1 billion industry. Now, does that justify it? Just because they make a lot of money, does that mean, these people aren't stupid? No, but let's just, if we're going to treat one thing like, in other words, we're comparing apples to apples. And I'm tired of people taking two different apples and acting like one is a piece of meat and the other is a fruit. Like, no. Gaming fans and the gaming industry is no different than the sports industry. Therefore, if you are a supporter of a particular franchise or even company, like, okay, because I'm very well versed in the whole understanding of sports not being necessary. But even for people who I like Toyota over Honda, or I like Honda over Ford, or whatever, or I like the Apple or the Android better. People have preferences. And that's all it is. It's having a preference. And you support what you prefer. Now, are there extremes? Yes, but there are extremes on every level. There are people that will sign up for the get a new iPhone every time an iPhone comes out, regardless of how ridiculous it is. There are people who will just swear by whatever device or item or, brand that they support to the, to the nth power, to an unhealthy level. That exists in every, on every facet. But generally speaking, when it comes to the group of people that prefer a particular gaming platform over another, there's nothing wrong with them and there's nothing wrong with it. This whole notion that, oh yeah, if games come out on every platform, then that's better for the consumer. No, it's not. Why is it not? Because you're like, well, I don't have to buy this machine and that machine to get this or that game. Guess what, people? It's called, you don't have to have every game. You don't have to have every game. You will live. For example, I really like Killer Instinct. Played it on Super Nintendo, played it on Nintendo 64, loved it. Like my favorite fighting game. When it was held on just the Xbox platform, and like the Xbox 360 got the red ring of death or whatever, because actually I don't even think Killer Instinct was on it at that time with the 360. If it was, I didn't know. But I never worried about playing it again. I just didn't. Like, even though it was my favorite game or whatever, I still had countless other games I could play, even if I stopped playing fighting games in general. There was other fighting games I ended up playing instead, like, what was it, Dead or Alive or something like that. Is it the same game? No. But again, you're not going to have the same experiences all your life. You're not. Your favorite car may never be made again. Your favorite restaurant may go out of business. Certain things that you like or enjoy don't last forever. Some people have had marriages that didn't last forever, that it was great or whatever. People have lost loved ones that, nothing lasts forever. Your favorite pet or animal may have passed away. Nothing lasts forever. So, do you have to have every game? No. So every game being on every platform is not necessarily a benefit. So I already said that you can live without it, number one. Number two, there is a benefit to a game being specifically made for a specific platform and being optimized for that specific platform, so that they don't have to worry about it being optimized for every platform. We already know these are facts, but for those who don't understand that, you're free to be special in your own way or in your own world. Do that. The bottom line is, Nintendo is not putting their games on other platforms. And Sony, most of the exclusives are not available on every platform. And I saw somebody actually say, you Sony fans better start hoping that, y'all better start letting Sony know or encouraging Sony to start playing nice with Nintendo and Microsoft. Nigga, are you stupid? And I'm sorry to say that word, but are you stupid? And the N word is what I was talking about. But are you literally stupid? And N word meaning ignorant in this situation, in this use. But are you really that stupid? Like, Nintendo, you're not telling you have never said, and nor will you say, Nintendo needs to be encouraged to tell somebody else. Why? Because Nintendo is making their money hand over fist and beating Sony and Microsoft hands down with what? Exclusives. Do they have to be the best games? No. Do they have to be the best looking games? No. But they just fun enough and they're catering to their base that appreciates what they offer, and that's their exclusives. And it works. It's a winning formula. It's a winning roadmap for all the ex-dummies. And I'm just gonna keep it like that. But for real, like, make it make sense. You're talking ignorantly, and you're showing how unintelligent you are. And you really sound like it's coping. You sound like you're probably a Microsoft Xbox fan and you're coping. And hence, again, reading and having comprehension, you said you all better, you Sony fans ought to start encouraging Sony. So you're not a Sony fan. And you're definitely not a PC fan, because you wouldn't be in the console space talking about this stuff. Otherwise, you really got some issues. But a lot of PC people do. Because it cracks me up how many PC people are always knocking on console people. But why are you wasting your time and energy at all in a space talking about something that you apparently supposedly don't like because you have a PC, but you are talking about console stuff. Why? If your platform is better and you play PC games, then play PC games. Why are you even in the conversation? Because most of the console games don't all come to PC, but Microsoft, of course. And now you'll get all those, but you don't get Nintendo games. Definitely not the new ones. And you're not getting all the PlayStation exclusives. Now, you can go through whatever pirating and illegal way to try to get what you want, but good luck with that. And good luck with the consistent problems that you will have with your Windows system, or whatever computer system. Like, none of it's perfect. But anyway, neither here nor there with that. Getting back to the ignorance that exists amongst apparently a coping fan base that just has a serious mental disorder. And to be honest, even some of the just gaming community in general, because here's the other thing I will address. It's bad for the game. No, it's not. No, it's not. Look, when Sega went away, was anybody crying about, oh my God, it's going to be so bad because Sony's going to take over and Sony, Nintendo, and it'll just be them two and blah, blah, blah. Nobody cared. If they did, the noise wasn't that big. And then when Microsoft did what they did, most people were like, why Microsoft? And, people ran with it because, again, it was really Americanized. Because, again, Nintendo and Sony, not American companies. And then Microsoft comes in, and, again, it's Microsoft. If you know Microsoft's track record and history, you should have known it was going to be bad going forward. But some people didn't know. Some people ran with it, and they got on the bandwagon hardcore, hooked up to the Matrix hardcore, and they ran with it. Now, did Microsoft bring some good things to gaming? Yes, they did. Did they bring some competition? Yes, they brought some variety. They brought some options. They brought a good controller and some good games and some good experiences. But just like Windows, the operating system, have there been some benefits to Microsoft Word and all these other things that you get from Microsoft? Sure. But when it's all said and done, they've done more bad than good from with all the monopolizing and all the business practices. If you know, you know. So no different with Xbox. You're literally fruit from the tree of Microsoft. So it's not going to be a good ending or a good experience overall when it's all said and done. I mean, that's just what it is. And thankfully, at this point, I mean, and the funny thing is, none of this stuff is anything new. This stuff has been said by myself and other people for over 10 years. And now the manifestation of the proof of it is right there. And the sad thing is, there are still people that will argue it. There are still people that actually think that what we're saying is not true and just completely factual. Now, let me explain why it's not that big of a deal. And that, let me put it in a real simple statement. Number one, Sony still has to make money. Nintendo still has to make money because, in my opinion, Nintendo is kicking themselves in the foot, or in the butt, and the foot, because even though they have a fan base like Microsoft that's going to accept whatever they do, the majority of them will not. The sales of their Pokemon game as well as their Switch 2 system is not continuing to go the direction that the original Switch went or the older Pokemon games. So, and that's because of the price hikes. If you want to be, deaf to reading the room, reading your fan base, reading the customer, and you think you're just going to continue to milk the system and charge whatever you want and sell as much as you want, it's not going to happen. But again, that's like talking to a certain political party. No matter what you say, they won't get it until it's too late. So, but yeah, let this be a receipt. If this video is actually being recorded and the audio is available, let this be a receipt that Nintendo is kicking itself in the butt right now, and we'll see what changes are made to get them going in a better direction, because otherwise it will go into the opposite direction. And people will be talking doom and gloom for the gaming industry as a whole and all that kind of crap. But the reality is this: gaming isn't going anywhere. They've been talking about gaming going somewhere for the last 20 years, and it still hasn't gone anywhere. And even if the current gaming environment changes, it gets like really, really bad, people will just pour into retro gaming. That's all it will be. People will just be buying retro games. Unfortunately, all these games, the physical copies, will become more and more expensive. But people will just get retro games, and then piracy will be huge. Piracy will be huge. People will get on PC and play all their old games, more and more and more. And then eventually, you might see a crackdown on that, on piracy. But you know, we will see how far that goes. But again, the good thing for me, and this is just, me and people in my age bracket, I can say these things willy-nilly because it doesn't affect me like it affects some of you other younger people. Because I've been blessed to enjoy a life where I experienced Atari, the first like early home consoles, Atari 2600, Atari 7800, a Palm machine or whatever, where you had like literally 1 or 2 games on it. The first Nintendo, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64. I really didn't play the first PlayStation, but PlayStation 2 was one of my favorites, and that's why it's, not that's why, but it just happens to be the most sold console ever. So many benefits with the PS2. So PS2, the Xbox 360, the first Xbox, the PlayStation 3, Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx 16, Neo Geo, okay, getting off here. So again, somebody like me, and PC gaming. Back when Quake, Doom, and Unreal Tournament went on PC, those were some of my best multiplayer experiences pre-Call of Duty, the early days. So when you look at my experience, and just based on the consoles that I have listed and mentioned, that'll just give you a taste of the games if you just look back at what those consoles brought to the gaming industry as a whole. And then you think about the games that were played, and then you think about the times in which those games were played, meaning when the graphic changes and the improvements from generation to generation, console to console, were a big deal. Easily, hands down, I experienced the best era in the golden era gaming all the way. Easy. So whatever's happening now, I can definitely laugh at it, because people out here even making comments like Sony has no games and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, you have too much time on your hands. Like, I have more games than I have time to play. I still have PlayStation 4 games I haven't finished. And I'm having fun with the games that I have and the games that I play. And I have a lot of games, physical and digital. And so it's like all this boo-hoo crying and finger pointing and trash talking. Y'all sound stupid. Because there are way more games to play than there's time to play. And if you're in a position where you feel like you don't have games to play, or that Sony doesn't have enough games to play, you're in a bad mental state, and it's unfortunate for you. But again, like I said, for people like me, man, congested like crazy. For people like me who have experienced the best eras of gaming and don't spend a moment of their life playing a game, and actually are able to just have time to play games when they have time and make time and enjoy the games they play, I feel bad for you, because we doing okay. and the things that are happening are not going to change that. Sony will always strive to make good games. They have a track record of making good games. And excuse me. They have a track record of making good games, unlike Microsoft Xbox. So they're going to continue to make good games. Do they miss occasionally? Yeah, but not on their big stuff. They don't miss on their big stuff. Not generally speaking, they don't. So anyway, I'm getting close to my destination. Hopefully this works. I'm congested as heck, but I just needed to get some of that out, and I'm not done. You know I'm not done. This conversation will continue to go on, and I'll be back with y'all later. See ya.